Hello, I'm IntoPixel. Today I'm going to be talking and creating something very exciting in Blender 2.82. So recently I watched a video by Vsauce. You may not have heard of him. He's a sort of person who describes scientific and interesting philosophical things, so make sure to check out his channel in the description. Basically, I was watching this rather long video that he created about supertasks. And if you haven't watched it already, I really recommend you going over because he describes it so well in such a visual way. So, supertasks are basically something where you have something and then you have a smaller one and a smaller one and a smaller one infinitely long. And the actual definition of a supertask is you complete an action half as fast or a fraction as fast as the one before each time. So in Blender you can't actually do it because obviously computers are nowhere near the compatibility to go to infinity. But you could technically pull something that looks pretty cool that you could use for maybe a background or something that just looks kind of cool, and you can go pretty far. So I watched another YouTube tutorial by Ducky 3D probably a few weeks ago, and he showed you how to use array modifiers and empty plane axes to modify where the array will be going. So if you are a beginner here, then I don't think you are the best person to be around, because this is going to be quite advanced, but you can always tag along and you will be able to do it. You just may not understand some of the steps that I'm going to go through. So number one, let's just add a cube. So the animation that you can see right now, the one that you will be able to create by the end of the tutorial. So it's basically a cube, then a smaller cube, then a smaller cube, and so on to 100 cubes. But just so it didn't break my computer, I did it like that. I think I'm going to go slightly higher because my computer didn't seem to have any problems with 100, so let's do 500 next time. Shift A, add a mesh. We're going to use a cube. We're going to scale it to be 10, and then we can zoom out like this. So now what we need to do, we need to go straight over to this modifier tab here, and we just need to add an array. So you see it's basically just got bigger, wider, and that is because we haven't used this amazing option here called Object Offset. So what we need to do, we need to do Shift A, go down to empties here, and then click on plane axes. And so with the cube, we go back to our modifiers, and then click on Object Offset, and with this little eyedropper here, you can click on the empty, or you can just navigate down to the empty here. So now you see we've got a very small cube there, and we can control how big this cube is by literally just scaling up and down the empty. So if we want to just scale like this, and we want to scale until it reaches the other one, which is obviously going to be the other size. So if you scale down a little bit, we're going to do it one small unit down squared, and then G, X, and then just bring it so it's just about touching that one. That will be fine. Okay. There we go. So that will be fine. And now for the empty, if we go down back to the cube, and then all we have to do is, it's the computer's work now, we can just set the count to be, let's say, 500. And so this one is going to be very long, and yeah, this is amazing. So if your computer can't handle that, I've got a pretty decent computer. It's got integrated graphics in Blender, so I think any old computer could handle at least 500 unless it's like 10 years old. So click apply, and basically when you apply it, it sets this mesh to be, sets the array to be in the mesh, so you can model it and fine tune it. So click on A to select all of them. Now what we want to do is we want to separate all of these cubes here, because we want to, this is for the animation's sake, because we want them all to have random colours. And if you have them as one material, then they'll all be the same colour, unless you manually go through 500 and assign new materials for different ones. So to separate by selection, just do P, and we're going to do by loose parts, loose parts, like that. And now we got 500 cubes down here, so we can scroll through here. Let's try and get down, let's go to the top here, just to be organised, because we don't want this mess to be in the way. We can click on cube 1, and then scroll right down to 500. So you may want to spam scroll down to 500, because I don't think there's any quicker way of doing this. So you've literally just got to go down to the 500, and I think, yeah, there's 499, and then there's another cube. And then just do Shift, click on that one, and it will click on all of the ones in between. So we need to get out of edit mode with Tab, and then just do Control G, and it will say create new, Command M? So we want to do Control G, and then let's name this connection cubes. So if you're not already at the bottom, you need to scroll right down to where it says cube 499, click on that, and then click your period key on your numpad, and it will go straight to there. What about that cube? No, so you don't want to click on the cube, the original cube, because that will be that one. So we want to do delete or numpad, or however you see it on your keyboard. And you see now it's got this weird clipping effect here, and you can change this by just clicking N on your keyboard, and it will bring up this menu here. So what we can do, we can go down to View, and then change our clipping, just click this down to 0.001. So this is going to get some weird effects, but just to keep it like this will be fine. So now onto the animation. So the way we're going to set this up, I'm just going to do Shift A, add a camera, and then I'm just going to do Control Alt numpad 0, snap it to view, and you see you can't see anything, and that's because the clipping on the camera is not turned on. So just go down to 001, and there you go. Could we handle 0.002? Yeah, we could handle that, or we could probably try 0.003. So change it to 0.03, and then click I to insert new keyframe, do location, and click on your focal length here, and just click on the dot next to it to insert a keyframe. Now we want to go to the very end of our animation, which is going to be 250, or it'd be 500 or something if you want a smoother animation. So now we're just going to get out this camera view, and then you just want to zoom out. So there we go. And then we just want to do Shift, and we want to set this up for our camera. Control Alt numpad 0, change our focal length. There we go, that should be good. Click on that, and then do I to set location. So at the moment, you see, you start off, and then it gets slower and slower and slower. And that's mainly to do with physics and the computer saying, well, it's further away, so we might as well do it slower. And the way to fix that is to go to go to the graph editor, or you can just do Control Tab if you're in the dope sheet, and you see we have all of these. So if you just click A to select all of them, and T, then it will bring up lots of different things here. So let's try Quintic. I think that's what I used. So it starts off like this, and then it gets basically slow, but it's alright, and it doesn't seem to slow down much like that. So what we can do, we can go back to our dope sheet, and then we can go up to our render tab here, change Eevee to workbench, and then change material to random. So now when we go into this tab here, they all have different colours. And so it is kind of confusing at the start to see, because they're going so fast, they're literally changing rapidly per second. But so it's quite hard. So if you want to slow that down, maybe in post, or try and do that in Blender, then that is possible. But that is the end of our animation. So this is this isn't really a super task, but it's something that looks like a super task and is a good way to visualize it. So hopefully everyone watching this as well, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.